Okay, can I start by saying that how sorry I am for the family of Jalika Jew. A young life like that should not be lost, and equally to the young man who apparently suicided in jail last night. Again, sympathy to your families as well. Well, can I say a few things? With respect to the loss of Jalika Jew, it is a complicated situation, but I want to promise you that whatever happened, all of the circumstances, the truth and the full truth will come out. I will ensure that. I don't know the details myself, but can I just say a few things? But there is a police investigation that should be completed very shortly. It's taken longer than it should have. Hang on. There will then be, after the police investigation, which we expect to receive in the next few days, the coroner, which is really the main event in a sense, will thoroughly review every single thing that's happened, and will try and ensure that coroner's report is completed as quickly but done properly. That is important. No shortcuts, no hiding of information. That will happen. Now, can I also say, with respect to Jalika Jew, one of the, apart from the sad loss of her life, one of the things that's become clear for that is that it is complicated, first on a government point of view. There's the involvement of the police, of the hospital, healthcare workers, corrective services and Attorney General. One thing that has become very obvious, and maybe it should have been obvious before, is in situations like this there clearly needs to be one person in control, dealing with not only the investigations but dealing with the family and friends of the deceased person. That is something we will correct should a tragedy like this happen again.
How many times has it happened?
I'm acknowledged. Look, I'm trying to speak to you, and I respect most people and try and listen. So the loss of life of young people, Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal, is far too much. It's a waste of young lives, a waste of all of their opportunities, and a tragedy for their friends. A lot has been done within our prison system, but it's not enough. It is not enough. And can I give to you two commitments? First, with respect to Jalika Jew, Jalika. Okay, sorry, Jalika. All the investigations, I know it's upsetting to the family and friends that investigations take so long. It's frustrating for me too, but they will be done in full. Nothing will be concealed, I'll ensure, and that the family will be treated with courtesy. I think in some of the discussions that have taken place with the family, and there have been, from police, from the police chaplain, from health, and I think perhaps another agency or so. But it's been difficult. There have been different family members involved in different discussions, and I think that needs to be done better. I think family members need to be informed in a better way and in a better coordinated way. But it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy, this case, for a whole range of reasons. And the second point that I want to make a commitment to, there are too many young people, particularly young Aboriginal people and particularly young Aboriginal men in our jail system. I mean, we all know that. And I will take it on. I know. Are you aware of that? I know the figures. Yeah. There are too many young people in our prison system, often for what might be seen as relatively minor offences, driving offences and the like. I cannot say I've got a solution to that. There's been lots of attempts that haven't worked, but I will give you a personal commitment as the Premier of this state. I will personally take on to work with ministers to try and reduce the number of Aboriginal people in our jail system, and to reduce the sort of tragedies that you're talking about tonight. I will do that. And you can judge me on whether I succeed or not, but I give you that commitment today. Thank you.
Okay, do we think people should be put in prison or detained because of fines? So that's something that can be changed now before a coronial inquest. Secondly, do we want to set up a 24-hour mandatory custody notification service? That doesn't have to wait for a coronial inquest. We want 24-hour coverage of all lockups. That doesn't have to wait for a coronial inquiry. The Aboriginal visitor scheme is in complete disarray. That needs to be fixed now.
Yeah.
We don't want the police investigating themselves. There needs to be a separate independent body to investigate these things, like they have in other countries. And we want action to be taken against systemic racism throughout our WA system. I'd now like to call on the opposition leader, Mark McGowan, to say a few words. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mark. And can I just in my opening remarks acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm standing today. Can I just at the outset acknowledge the depth of feeling of people here today, and that this is a very serious issue, and pass on my regards to the family members of Ms. Dew, and also the family members of the poor prisoner who passed away last evening, the extended family of both of those people. What happened with Ms. Dew has been, I think, an incredibly sad set of events. And I read this morning how she was returned to the hospital on the third occasion in the back of a taxi, and her heart had stopped beating. And that is a very, very sad thing, that on the third occasion she had to go back to the hospital and she hadn't been treated properly, or hadn't been treated on the first two occasions and kept in the hospital. The thing I want to say to you here today is this is a matter of such seriousness, and it builds on a history of these things having happened over the last 100 years, that it requires a full independent inquiry now. There should be no further delays in relation to a full independent inquiry into what has gone on here. The second point I want to make is this. There are way too many people in prison for fine infringements. And often those fine infringements are the smallest of fine infringements, whereas people or corporations that don't pay the big fines have very few punishments attached to them. And it is very unfair that the small infringements attract prison time and the big infringements don't. And it's also very unfair and I think a tragedy for our state that young people in particular are taken from the goldfields, the Pilbara and the Kimberley and brought down here for imprisonment at great cost to the community, and even greater cost to the community in which they live and the young people involved. And as a state, we should have better solutions to that situation. I appreciate the Premier said some good words, and I appreciate and agree with what he had to say. The only unfortunate thing I'd say is the number of Indigenous people in prison in Western Australia has grown and continues to grow, and too many people are imprisoned for infringements over the last few years. And that has been an unfortunate historical record in this state. And clearly, more needs to be done. In fact, we need to have some very dramatic action to prevent that transport of young people from the remote areas of the state to Perth, and secondly, to prevent that level of people going to prison for fine infringements. It clearly has to stop, and much more dramatic action needs to be taken. It has not been taken over the last few years. So can I just acknowledge the pain and the suffering people are going through, and can I thank people for coming out today and expressing the emotion that you feel about this very important matter. And for what it's worth and what we can do, my colleagues and I will continue to take this issue up on your behalf. Thank you very much.
I think we need to have some respect of culture when we deal with these sorts of issues. Having said all that, I will be tireless in ensuring, if I can, that there is an independent inquiry. The problem is that we continue to have, and I'm not saying that they're wrong, but we continue to have the police investigating police. Now, through parliamentary questions over the last few days, I've established a number of things, and they're horrendous things. The police commissioner, Mr. Pania, said that in most cases, prisoners should be taken to the hospital when ill by ambulance. We now know, as a result of a question I asked last night, that on the 3 occasions that the young woman went to the South Hedland campus, she was taken in the back of a paddy wagon. And on the 3rd occasion, when they arrived at the Port Hedland Health Campus, she had no pulse and she was not breathing. So, to me, we need to have a complete and utter review of how we deal with incarcerated people. Doesn't matter whether they're black or white or whatever. We have to have a better system. But we have to have a system that stops locking up those people who are least able to pay their fines, which usually end up being Indigenous people, and that is the majority of the people who are in prison for fine default. It's not for major crime, it's not for murder, it's not for burglary, it's mainly for fine default. And fine defaulting and prison should not occur. Thank you very much indeed, and I wish the family of Miss Dew well. I hope that coming here today they have been able to see that there's a great deal of support in the community, and there are members of Parliament who do support the family as well. Thank you.
One of the things is, in this current one, I lived in Hedland for a number of years. I know that young girl's parents, her family. The hospital is also at fault. They should be investigated because, as I understand it, I do not think there was a doctor involved in this. So as a Greens member, I've heard what you were saying. So the hospital, there has been many complaints about Port Hedland Hospital over the years. Now this is where it's at now. As I understand it, there was only nurse practitioners who then did an investigation with the girl. 3 times they sent her away from that hospital. It should not have happened. The police are only partly at fault on this one. I think they may have done their little bit, but I mean, they're not off the hook, mind you, because they're still there. But now we've got to take the hospital and the health department to task for all of the deaths of patients in hospitals and the lack of duty of care and understanding of Aboriginal ways of doing things. And this is one of the biggest things. So my condolences to Port Hedland, because not only one person died. The grieving process is for the whole of the community in Port Hedland. So my condolences are with all the family up there, the grandparents there in Geraldton. My condolences go out to them as well. And thank you very much for that. But there's two departments at fault here. The health department and the police department. Thank you.